Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Wanjiko Mwangi, and I'm happy today to be here today. Welcome. Thank you for subscribing to my YouTube channel. For the new subscribers, thank you so much. If you're watching this and you have not subscribed, please consider subscribing. And here I bring you another beautiful reaction video. And this time I'm shifting my focus from the Nyambohanse village to a very interesting video that I watched recently, and the video is made by Alex Mwakindeu. Now, the video is so interesting because it is talking about marriage, and specifically, it is talking about the marriage of the famous Robert Burale. Robert Burale is a pastor, he's a life coach, he's a counselor, he's a mentor, he's a lot of things, and he has inspired so many people in Kenya, and I believe even outside Kenya, because he goes even to minister outside Kenya. But what caught my attention is his story, his own relationship story. And he was interviewed by his former brother-in-law, Alex Mwakindeu. Alex Mwakindeu is also a renowned media personality. He has been in several media stations in Kenya, and now he's hosting his own podcast and his own media known as Alex Mwakindeu TV. And so, in this podcast, where he was interviewing Robert Burale, Robert explained that he was married to Rozina Mwakindeu, and that they were two good people who got together at the wrong time. That is what Robert Burale explained. So, when he was asked why he divorced Rosina, or the sister to Mwakindeu, he said that it was just two good people who met at the wrong time.
I know, right?
Robert Burale.
Yes, sir.
Haikuwa violence.
There was no violence. There was no
cheating.
infidelity. Yeah. So, to be honest,
what is this other reason that you want to give the world and tell the world there's this other thing here?
But then I don't understand, how can two good people meet at the wrong time or be wrong for each other? So okay, then I assumed, yes, you can be two good people, but then your focus or what you really want in life is so much different, such that you cannot be together anymore. But I wonder so much, like, how, it's like ironical to say that two good people cannot be in a relationship. To be in a relationship, it's not making any sense. So when I watched this his interview with Alex Mwakindeu, because that is the first interview that was done, Robert Burale brings out that he really respects Rosina, his ex-wife, and that he has maintained celibacy for more than 13 good years, because they parted ways back in 2013. They had been married for about 1 year. I think 1 year, 1 week and 3 days. But what's he saying? And so they during that 1 year, they were not able to integrate well. They were not able to live together as a couple. And so there are so many questions that were not asked, and the ones that were asked, Robert navigated just around them. He is a very good orator. He is a person who is so admired by so many people. He gives counsels to men, he gives counsels to women, and you listen to him, you can change your perspective about life, about marriage, and he is an interesting person to listen to, and sometimes he seems very right in what he is saying. But now you come to him and his life has been single for more than 13 years. That brings so many questions. And him being a pastor, it brings so many questions. He was asked by Mwakindeu, have you been able to live for 13 good years in a celibate life? And he said, yeah, it is possible, he manages, but now he's saying that he can no longer do it anymore. And now he's dating and he's ready to get married. Robert is in his 60s and he's going to get married for the second time after his first marriage failed, and he has not married again since then, and he is about to get married again. And it was an interesting interview to watch, and because in this interview you learn that there was no major things that caused Burale and his ex-wife to separate, and they are still good friends. He said that they moved on, not moving on, like getting into other relationships, but moving on with their lives. They are no longer bitter with each other, so they are living separately. But each and every one of them is happy in their own way, is doing their own things, and they are doing them very well. And he implied that despite leaving Rosina, she is still very beautiful, and he respects her very, very much. So he creates a picture of them having a good relationship despite them having separated, and that he maintains that he is still going to get married, and he is believing still in a family and in a successful marriage. His setup is what he does is, in most cases, he is counseling people about life, about marriage and relationship. And him being interviewed about his own relationship is very, very important, because we got to know that he also has been living single for more than 13 years. But the major question was not answered properly, because he never told us the main things that caused them to separate. He only said that they were two good people who were not able to live together. And so they came to an agreement to separate. But then just after 1 year, you see? Now, this is now where the twist gets in. The twist gets in when now Alex interviews his sister about the same. And now so many questions that we asked and were never answered. That not necessarily asking Robert, but necessarily asking ourselves. They are now answered in this podcast.
I feel like taking you to the wedding day.
Okay.
The wedding day.
Yeah.
I was there.
Yeah.
What can you say about it?
I can say that first of all, it was interesting, and I can also say for a fact that when I was walking down the aisle, I did not feel that I'm actually doing what I need to be doing.
Really?
Yes, and also napenda kujournal, napenda kuandika sana. Nilipotoka nilienda nikaangalia journal yangu, nilikuwa nimeandika mara 3 different days that I will not marry Robert Burale with my own handwriting. So on the wedding day, because it's a wedding day, people have gathered, it is here. You're happy, but you're also, am I doing the right thing? That thing at the back of your mind. Because so much has happened until that.
You unanipatia maswali. You actually wrote on your journal.
Yes.
I will not marry Robert Burale.
Yes.
3 times.
3 times.
Different occasions.
Yes, the Holy Spirit. Hapo sasa ni mwenyewe.
Na kalamu na
Yes,
karatasi.
yes.
This is before you got married to Robert.
Yes.
And you still got married to Robert.
Nikisema kivyangu,
Why?
the biggest mistake that I ever made in my life is marrying Robert Burale. I know why.
Okay. The biggest angoa.
My biggest mistake in life is marrying Robert Burale.
Really?
Na siko baya.
Really?
Yes. And the darkest period in my life was when I was with Robert Burale.
Really?
Yes.
One of the questions that I asked myself, how can two good people be able to live together, not be able to live together? That is impossible. In fact, two good people living together, it can be very, very, very happy. It would be a very happy marriage. Now, we get the answer to what happened in this podcast. Well, in this podcast, you'll see that Rosina is explaining what happened between her and Robert. So they got married when Rosina was 36 years. And now they separated after 1 year and 1 week, 2 days. And after they have separated, now it is about 12 to 13 years since they separated. And, the marriage, she described how they met, how Robert was somehow queer. There's this time that Rosina went to visit him, to stay with him in his mom's place, and Robert never attempted to touch him. But even during that time, there were so many calls, there were so many messages from other women, from other men about Robert, but Rosina just she didn't take them seriously and she ignored them. But there are times where she would raise questions, but Robert has a very high convincing power and she could be convinced back. She even gives an instance where she had packed everything that she had come with from Mombasa, because they come from, their home is at Mombasa. So that day she packed, and then Robert's cousin came and found her packing, found her ready to leave. She had even called a taxi to come and pick her belongings. And before the taxi could pick her up, Robert already had come back and had chased away the taxi driver. And then Rosina was left in the same home, and she cried a lot. She wanted to leave, but Robert did not want her to leave because he was very insecure of her leaving. And he did not want her to listen to any outsiders about him, about anything. Any questions are raised against him, he would convince her. He would tell her those are lies, those are people who don't want us to get together. Remember, people are jealous. Remember, people are witches. So he would convince Rosina to get back and to calm down and to get along with him, and again focus on the marriage that they were planning. But then when Rosina then asked her mother about the guy, her mother told her that she doesn't see any light in that relationship. She can only see darkness. And so after this, she also had seen so many reasons for her not to marry Robert, but she still went on. She even says that she had wrote in her diary 3 times, 3 good times she had wrote that she will not marry Robert. For 3 times she had wrote that she is not gonna marry Robert. And she says that she believed that was the Holy Spirit. Everyone wants her against him. So many questions arose, but Robert is a genius in convincing. So he managed to convince her up to the end, and they walked down the aisle. And during the time that she was walking down the aisle, she would feel that she's making a mistake. But then this is too much. People have come from different corners of the country. Her brother had come from Mombasa. Her parents. There were so many people, family, friends from the church, pastors. They were there coming to witness the marriage of their fellow pastor. Robert is a pastor. You can imagine having a wedding that is a pastor's wedding. You usually have a lot of people, especially the clergy is usually packed up, So I can imagine that beautiful wedding of a beautiful couple. Robert is quite very, very handsome. Rosina is beautiful as well. You can imagine that kind of a good wedding. And you can see. I haven't seen their marriage yet, or their photos of their wedding, because as from the Rosina's story, she's saying that they lost their footage, they lost the video. How they lost it, they can't remember. So that must have been a very, very beautiful wedding, and with a lot of people in it. But as she is saying, she's saying that she really, really had voices from the Holy Spirit that she should not go on with it. Now, the drama becomes even bigger when they get married, and they went to the honeymoon in South Africa. So now in South Africa, they continued being celibate. Now this is the big question: how you go to the honeymoon, you are joined as a couple, and now you still don't do it? It's a question. You go and watch that podcast and you tell me what you think about it. And I am telling you exactly what I heard from the podcast. So tell me, is it possible? So it became fishier in this situation. They went to South Africa. They came back. After coming back, now some of Robert's character were exposed. The calls from women increased. The calls from people increased, other people, because now people would claim that Robert also told them that he would get married to them. He also took money from people. He also tried to take money from Rosina, and things didn't work. And so there is this particular situation arose again when now she managed to get Robert's password, Robert's laptop's password. She was able to open the emails, and when she got into the emails, I'm telling you, the ceiling broke loose. I'm imagining. Okay, I didn't want to use that hell broke loose. I just wanted to use. Yeah, you understand. So what she found on the emails is exchange of many, many messages with women. Maybe she never wanted to mention, because how can you get somebody with an 18+ video of the same gender or his male gender, and failed to find messages from the same people. So here, if you listen to Rosina, it wasn't, she didn't want to expose as much as we may have wanted, but that mentioning screamed volume. Because how, because he said the photos were of the same gender, the video were of the same gender, and so she was very hurt, and she's saying due to this video she went home. During the 1 year marriage, she went home 3 times because of many instances. She got instances where she even was called by the police and she was told, we are going to come pick you up so that Robert can come and pick you up, and then we arrest him. But then this guy, when police could come to arrest him, he would just be friends with them and they would live laughing and high-fiving each other, And so Rosina says the worst mistake of her life was to marry Robert Burale. She also says that the darkest moments of her life was to marry Robert Burale. Of course, this is a story that happened 13 years ago. So these are people maybe who have changed all the time, and these are people who have realigned maybe their lives. Maybe Robert, as Robert gives his story, he says he never says that he was good. He never says that he was a saint. He never says that he was an angel. He usually very open with his struggles in the past. He usually says he was not a good man. Even in his interview, he said that he was not a good man. And so accepting his mistakes was very, very important, because now no one may judge him as per now, because we believe he has changed. So, oh my God, people go through a lot of things, especially in relationships, especially when people are young. And one last question that Rosina answered, she was asked sorry, she was asked if she could go back together with Robert. And she said, no, she can never go back. And the answer was because she said, and the main reason is because Robert was a mistake in her life, and she spent the darkest days of her life with Robert. So, this story kind of shocked me, and I don't know. What do you think about it? Burale looks like a very, very, okay, maybe he talks too much. Maybe the actions are, well, I am not here to judge. I am not here to say anything about it. Mine is to just react and also summarize the story for you in case you are interested. But my take is, what glitters is not gold. And not all mangoes that are yellow that are sweet. And a green mango can be ripe and sweet. Never judge a book with its cover. And not everything that you listen from the social medias can make you. Do not build your relationship by listening to life coaches, listening to these people who seem to know it all. Also follow your instinct. It's good to listen to good advice. It's good to listen to your inner self. It's good to find out the truth also. The most important thing is find the truth before getting into a relationship. And walking down the aisle doesn't mean that you live with that person forever. In fact, so many weddings have ended up to fails. So just trust in God. Leave everything to God, because we dream so big. We dream to have these great families, marriages, but sometimes you may be disappointed. Sometimes you may be disappointed, and not everything that you plan can actualize. This life, it has God in control. Sometimes it's not easy to control your life. It's not easy to control what comes in your life. It is not easy. But what do you do? What do you do? Trust in God, the creator, the maker, and the author of our destinies. And that's it in turn. I can't say a lot, but that's it in turn. Have a blessed. Which one is it? Have a blessed day, evening, morning, night, whenever time you're watching. Be blessed, and also never lose hope. Never give up. Just positive vibes, and be good. Be good. Be good. Thank you, and bye.